Welcome back, everyone. We found a interesting video here from a pro-gun group started by a bunch of Penn State students called Trigger Millennials. The video already has 38,000 views. It's starting to go viral in some circles. And their head of their group, Mark Monsanto, just asked a very innocuous question at a March for Our Lives event because they're going on this whole bus tour or whatever. And this is what happened.
I just want to bounce off of what that question asked. At the end there, you said that your father was a police officer, I believe. Is that correct? And you never knew that he had a gun on him for your whole life? We're not saying to militarize our schools. We're saying, why can't somebody with a concealed carry permit already, or a former police officer that wants to teach kids now, you're going to tell me you don't want that person teaching you? You don't want that person in your room that provided security for the public his entire life, and you don't even know he has the gun? Nobody knows. Nobody's going to see a gun. But it's there if you need it, and there are times when people could have needed someone like that. It doesn't come out of the budget either if they already have the permit. I want to hear the answer first now.
All right, no problem. So first and foremost, my father isn't a teacher. My father made sure I didn't know I had a gun because he just didn't want to expose me to a weapon. Because at the end of the day, everyone knows the capability of a gun. At the end of the day, a gun's meant to kill. And that's the sad reality of it. And what people don't understand about the school to prison pipeline is that in schools, black and brown children are oftentimes more likely.
You would never know. Stop dodging.
No, black and brown children are oftentimes more likely to be incarcerated. Like Edna said, black and brown youth are determined whether or not they're going to prison by their third grade reading level. If the leaders of our country, if the youth of our country are limited to their third grade reading level, how are we supposed to go and progress? Because in the place of education, like Alex said, I had teachers I didn't enjoy. I had teachers I didn't like. And me already being, if the system were being stacked against me, you add weapons into that equation. What does that do? So then you will see headlines where black and brown children are being shot because the teachers don't like them. I got you one. So to ask that question to be like, to add, to give teachers guns, it's blasphemous at the end of the day. Because our teachers were trained to educate our children. Because what you're doing now is, like I said, you're adding more guns into the situation, and that doesn't solve the issue. That just rises tension.
I have to interrupt real quickly. So whoever drove a.
Yeah, you saw that right, people. Mark got the mic taken from him. They grab him from the back and they kindly escort him out of the building, I guess they'd say. I can see one of the comments here by Trigger Miles says one reason we were removed was, quote, for the safety of the speaker.
What? What do you think that Mark was going to go and shoot him or something? These people really think the worst of people.
Yeah.
They're thinking that the teachers were going to go and shoot a student because they didn't like him. Okay, I don't know about you, but my teachers, even the most worst ones, wouldn't go and do that. To become a teacher, you have to go through some crazy background checks. It's probably closest thing's probably the FBI, because to be a teacher, at least in the state of Pennsylvania, you have to go and if you had a DU, an underage drinking, you're not allowed to become a teacher anymore. It's that serious compared to all these other things. It's even worse than it's about the same level of someone getting concealed carry. So you get that on top of the concealed carry. Then these would be some of the most trustworthy people in the world, but this guy just doesn't understand that.
Yeah, I talked about this with the Candace Owens incident recently, where Antifa threw breakfast food at Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens and chased them out of the diner. And you see it here again, which is a clear contrast. You have one side that is of love, reason, respect, and maybe curiosity. I know it's a scary thing in today's world. And another side which is just irrational, emotional, and unproductive. I mean, it was definitely more extreme with the Candace Owens things. You had freaking Antifa there that was throwing stuff, and they were shouting hate and just all just like creating a mean environment, a mean atmosphere. Um, but here, Mark is just just taken out of this event for asking a question. If you can't have your beliefs questioned, then you really don't understand what you believe in. You really don't know what you're talking about. I know that can sound condescending to some people, but you should be able to look at what you believe in, form counter arguments, and consider maybe I'm wrong. If you can't argue against what you think, you really aren't developing your ideas, and you don't really have a full understanding of them. That doesn't mean you of course agree with those counter arguments, but you can debate those counter arguments and see why you're right. These people, they're bringing up silly emotional arguments, like basically they're saying, oh, is the teacher going to shoot the kids? I understand that concern, but concealed carry holders are some of the safest people in the country. Like if you look at the statistics, like 0.0001% of them have actually committed crimes or shot people, by accident, or or for purposes of non-self-defense. Like I remember a guy came to Penn State talking about that. He was well researched in it. He showed the stats, official statistics, from I think the Department of Homeland Security or the FBI, or it was a government agency, and he showed that they are the safest people in the world. And I would be totally comfortable with teachers that have been fully vetted, that are concealed carry holders being allowed to carry.
Yeah, absolutely. They maybe they just have bad teachers where they're at. It could just be like a ghetto or something, and all the teachers are just like packing heat and shooting kids. I don't know.
It's
Like the thing
Chicago.
is, it's such a issue over there where they're. I think it's like the other issue that they need to go and worry about is why are they so afraid of teachers owning guns? Are the teachers that bad? And if so, that's another argument. That's not one where you should have the gun owners. It should be one that you have with the teaching environment where that this kid would even think of something like that.
Yeah.
Like most of my teachers, I may have had some pretty terrible ones, but they would never go and like even hit a student, let alone shoot one.
Yeah.
Not like these guys are mentioning. Like this guy just, I think he's irrational. He's probably just uneducated on the issue, and he doesn't understand guns. And because they don't understand something, it's like the great white shark. They just want to like get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is that aren't teachers mostly liberal?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. It depends really where they're at. Probably where I was at, we had a decent bit of conservative students, but for public schools at least, you get a lot of teachers who they are in the teachers union, and that's a big thing of why they probably vote Democrat. Another issue the teachers have to deal with is, I guess, they're government employees, so then you get that they're tied to the state by like the little umbilical cord.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, that's being a little bit harsh on some teachers. They do their
Yeah.
best, and most people don't realize the some of the terrors that can happen from forcing people to go and pay for inadequate and politically charged education in many cases.
Well, for context sake, this March for Our Lives event was at the Universal Audrey Chartered High School in South Philadelphia. South Philadelphia is very, 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 very Democrat. Like, very Democrat. You can't find a single conservative in South Philly. And the schools in Philadelphia are shit. I'm sorry. And that's part of the problem, is that they're shit schools. And if anything, that would make schools safer. If these teachers are good people and they're qualified and they've been vetted and all that, make your school a hell of a lot safer in Philly. Because, to be honest with you, there's a lot of neighborhoods I have been down through Philly. They're pretty scary. You roll your windows up, which they were bulletproof windows in many cases, but it's a scary area.
Oh, absolutely. Like even Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they got moved out of Philadelphia. Obviously, it's a pretty terrible place if Will Smith can't even live there.
Yeah. So again, really, there's not much else I can add to this except it's just one side doesn't want to hear the other side, and it's unproductive. It's it looks bad on them, and then they eject Mark from the event, which looks really bad on their part. I mean, it looks really bad. But what's a small detail I noticed is that they were all clapping. They weren't snapping. We're not used to that.
Good. I don't really understand why they did this whole snapping, because probably less people can snap than people who can clap. So it's actually like less, like it's more ableist to snap. So I found that greatly offensive whenever they did that. But in all honesty, here they just got pissed off at Mark because he was a couch in echo chamber. He was taking up. He was stopping the echoing. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That was a major problem over there, and they wanted to go and keep it like that because they get all these little kids who are going to be riled up. Oh, I hate guns, and they didn't even advertise this. I think I was talking to Mark, and so the guy said it wasn't even like anti-gun; it was just like pro-safety or whatever. But it's a ruse. They want to
Yeah.
make these things up, and they want to go and say, "Oh yeah, we're totally, we're pro-gun," but then their idea of a gun is like a musket from 1776. And then you quickly realize these people aren't pro-gun in the slightest, or incredibly anti-gun, and they want to go and like word shift and make it look like they're not lying, but they are. And the sad thing is, a lot of these are kids. They probably don't even understand what they're arguing about. They've probably never shot a gun in their life. They probably like never even had a
Yep.
friend who's Republican, especially in Philadelphia. It's just a whole nother world.
Yeah. Yeah, again, that's what I was saying, that it's, they really don't, you can tell they don't know what they're talking about. Because if they knew what they were talking about, they would keep debating Mark. They'd have the confidence to debate him. But I've always said this because, I think you said it, everybody I've talked to has really said it. If you haven't fired a gun, fire a gun. Just for the experience. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to keep firing it. Just one shot. I mean, you're going to want to do a second shot, but just do it once. I mean, I'm a person that was pro Second Amendment, still am pro Second Amendment, and I never shot a gun for the longest time. And I was a little cautious going into it, but when I did it, all that caution just went out. It felt totally natural. It felt, totally just reassured that, I gained some experience and some confidence by doing it. It's a simple thing. Anybody, if you're going to talk about guns, you gotta shoot one first before you actually start talking about it. I'm not one to say that sort of mentality, like you have to do this to be able to talk about this. Obviously you can talk about it, but if you really want to talk about fairly, you should shoot guns first before you start talking about guns.
Well, yeah, because they don't even understand like any of the politics around it, any of the sort of intricacies and how people live their lives. Like, not everyone lives in the city with a police officer like 5 minutes down the block.
Yeah.
And it's like a 15-year-old kid who just doesn't even have a driver's license, like doing car reviews. That's never even driven before. It's to that point. Like, yeah, they've seen cars on Grand Theft Auto and on the television, and they have no idea of how like they actually feel to drive one.
Yeah, because you see all the memes of like, people that don't know what AR-15 stands for. They think it stands for like assault rifle or alt-right. Like these are legitimate things we've seen. Like, we don't make this shit up, but it's happened. Or people talk about like, well, we should ban machine guns, and I ask them, well, what's a machine gun? A gun that fires many bullets. Well, what is that? You gotta be more specific. Is that a handgun can fire a lot of bullets? Well, one that you pull the trigger and it fires bullet, and you pull the trigger and it fires another bullet. Well, that's semi-automatic. Do you want to ban all semi-automatics? Because you'd ban most guns, So you gotta understand what these terms are and understand what you're talking about. Because the media throws terms around like assault rifle, assault weapon, semi-automatic, fully automatic, and nobody...
Fully semi-automatic.
Okay, Chag. Yeah, he actually said that. It's like, again, people don't know what they're talking about with this, and it's frustrating because when I want to have a conversation with somebody, I want to have it on a level playing field in the sense that we both understand the issue. We may have different perspectives, different forms of compromise, but we just need to have a basic understanding of this. And with guns, again, I'd encourage people to fire one and to research it, learn the terms, learn what they really mean. Because there are ones that are invented by the media and ones that are perfectly legitimate. So you gotta know which is which.
Oh yeah, they need to go and actually talk to people who use guns, people who live not within their necessarily area, who might have a different opinion because of different like lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And then another thing I've seen the leftists use too is the term gunsplaining. It's like mansplaining. I've heard it before. I've seen it before. I think it was like I'm thinking maybe Elizabeth Warren or Dianne Feinstein.
Oh God.
One of the two, just like idiots. making up these terms whenever they get told things they don't like to hear. Oh, you're mansplaining. Oh, you're gunsplaining, because they're too lazy. And like the left, they want to go and categorize themselves as a party of like research, knowledge, and tolerance.
Science.
But, they don't tolerate people who have different opinions. They don't tolerate people who
Yeah.
protect themselves. They're against women protecting themselves. They're pro rapists in a lot of arguments because they want to prevent women who've been like targeted by abuse from like an ex from getting a handgun. Like there's some girl in California years ago who was like unable to get a legal handgun because of the like waiting restriction, and her boyfriend came in. She ended up like an ex-boyfriend. She had to go and like get a black market gun. Like their laws directly hurt women, and they hurt like the people who are the most vulnerable, because what's going to stop like a 55-year-old lady from getting beat up by like some 20-year-old like really buff guy? The only thing that could really stop that are then some crazy mechanical contraption like super soldier Spartan Master Chief armor would be a handgun or a rifle or a shotgun or a machine gun. It's a lot of things that can protect you from that.
Yeah, I fully agree. I always tell people, because you always hear the left say, 1 in 5 women are raped on college campuses. There's a rape epidemic in America. Men are a problem. Toxic masculinity. You hear these things thrown around, and you go, hold on, okay, let's look at this here. So you want women to not get raped. I mean, we all do. That's I would hope that's common ground to start off with. So how should women protect themselves? Well, like you said, all these cases where women are raped, it's mostly because of the fact that men are physically stronger. So how are you gonna level the playing field? Or in this case, really trump the playing field? Carry a gun. Okay, I'm the biggest advocate of women concealed carry. That is the easiest way, the safest way, and the best way for women to protect themselves. I mean, Second Amendment is, the definition of self-defense. Having a gun will stop any rapist. It will save many lives and save the trauma that women go through because of rape. I mean, it's the best thing I can advocate for. Because
it's not even just a women thing too.
Of
because
course.
There's a lot of people. You get MS-13 over here. What's going to protect you from like an MS-13 gang member? What's going to protect you from just a group of people want to hurt you, want to mug you, want to like what? Well, the left one's going to talk about Russians. What if the KGB's at your door? What are you going to do?
What Putin's at your door?
What's going to stop Putin from coming in and meddling with your elections? You got to protect yourself.
Yeah, but did you see that Vox was saying that MS-13 like isn't that bad? Like they're children too. Like they did this video where they were like showing like so like sympathizing with them. Like they're just children taking selfies.
Yeah, they're very like I guess the term would be bipolar on this issue, because on the one hand you see stuff like that, then I think it was Washington Post like a couple months ago, they had a story about like how MS-13 invaded middle school.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's your position? They're either just harmless kids, or they're like invading middle schools and like bringing guns into middle schools and like rape and drugs and all this other stuff. So you need to go and make up your mind. But I think I think that's my piece on that topic before we get too helter skelter with it.
Yeah. So. Watch the video, guys. Again, if you want to, go to Trigger Millennials Facebook page. If you support what they do, like them, follow them, spread them around. I mean, I've liked the work they've done. We talked about the local rally that they had. Like, they're a great group of guys and gals. I know a lot of them personally, and I have to say, like, this, this is the left in America. They showed it right here, and we've talked about before on Real News and all our other videos about their total inconsistencies, their lack of tolerance, their lack of an open dialogue, and Trigger Millennials here was trying to start an honest conversation, maybe change people's minds or open them up to new ideas or explain to them some unique perspectives and different experiences, but the other side didn't want to hear it. And that's I completely discourage any shutting down of conversation, because that's not how society moves forward. Any last words from you, Mr. Alex?
No, just go and like, share, and subscribe this video, our other videos, and also check out Millennials, as you've already mentioned.
Yeah.
They're a great group of people. I know Mark personally is very good, very high energy activist. We need activists of all types. If you want to be on the front lines, that's great. There's always groups out there, especially local ones, I'm sure. Even if you do live in Philadelphia, I'm sure there's at least like some group, probably not very high capacity, but look into Trigger Millennials, join them, assist them. I know that like the thing with the Republicans, and not even the Republicans, just right wing groups in general, like right now, is that we need support. We don't have our own George Soros. We need to go and have support. We need to go and have funding. That's one thing the left beats us at. We need to have our own platforms. Help out the alternative media projects that are going around. Do your part. Don't be a keyboard warrior. We need people to actually get on the front lines and do something. And if you can't, go and donate to people who will. Help out. Or at the very least, just spread the word about it. The more people get to know about it, the more likely that people will bring it up. Other people will join if they have some money to go and help out. They will. It's up to you.
Yeah, but I thought we were getting our check from the Koch brothers this week, Alex.
And I don't think the Koch brothers likes us very much. We're probably better off talking to Putin about that.
yeah. I'm gonna reemphasize that too because it's so important. Like again, subscribe to this channel, follow us on all social media because all these big tech platforms are censoring anybody to the left of Jane Fonda. They're shutting them down. They're censoring them. Look at what happened to Alex Jones. It doesn't matter if you love or hate the guy. It is a clear form of across the board between Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, all censoring him, shutting him down, not letting him spread his message if it's good or bad. But what the big point we're trying to make here is that Alex was first, but you're going to be next. Trigger Millennials could be next tomorrow. Versa could be next tomorrow. Paul Joseph Watson could be next. You could be next. It doesn't matter. It's if we don't do anything, that's going to get out of hand. And again, that's something we need to have a dialogue with too. So don't shut down the conversation like big tech does. Actually have one and actually discuss these issues because they matter. And like the issue of concealed carry in schools can actually save lives and stop more mass shootings.